constructor is a special member function used to initialize the object of a class automatically. The first function is power function. This is a constructor function. It's a special member function used to initialize the object of a class. With a double quotes, whatever thing we are written, if it is spelling mistake, whatever thing, it will display as it is. Welcome back to one and all. Myself, Vasanta, lecturer in Computer Science, Vidhyaashram, Pre-University College, Temple of Excellence, Mysore. Today, we want to start with the first session of Constructor and Destructor chapter. Whereas in the annual exam, from this, you will get only 2 questions. That is, from part B, 1 question for 2 marks, as well as in part D, 1 question for 5 marks. Totally 7 marks you will get from this chapter in the annual exam. Whereas on today's session, you will come to know regarding Introduction to Constructor. Then, what are the rules to write a constructor? Some rules and regulations we have to follow, that is rules to write a constructor function. Then with that, how to declare a constructor. With that, you will come to know one example program regarding constructor. Now, when we come on constructor, constructor is a special member function used to initialize the object of a class automatically. Here, this is mainly used for initialization purpose. Here, we are not able to perform any calculations. Only we can able to perform initialization. Here, it's a special member function used to initialize the object of a class automatically. If I want to write a constructor, then some rules and regulations here we have to follow. Then on that, a constructor has same name as that of class name. For example, consider we are creating a class. Here, class name. Whatever name you want, you can write. Whereas here, compulsory, we have to write that in public section only. Write down public. In this, write down class name once again. Then here, bracket. Then here, whatever statement you want, whatever initialization you want, you can do. Then you are closing the class. It means that a constructor has same name as that of class name. Here, if you observe, class name, class name. Okay, I am going to give one more example. For example, class, add I am giving. Here, from this you come to know that class name is add. Here, in public section, once again, add only. Here, whatever statement, whatever initialization you want, you can do. Then finally, we will close the class. It means that class name as well as function name must and should be there. Must and should be same here. That is the first one. Here, if I want to write any constructor, then class name and function name must and should be same. Then there is no any written type specifier, not even void also. Whereas for other functions, we used to write void, int, char, float, like that. Before that, function name. Whereas here, if you observe here we don't have any written type specifier, not even void also. Because usually you are going to get this question for 5 marks. What are the rules to write a constructor? Or how to write a constructor, which are the rules we have to follow there. Then there is no any written type specifier, not even void also. You are not supposed to write any written type specifier here. And a constructor should be defined or declared using public access specifier. Compulsory, if you observe here, compulsory, we have to declare this in public access specifier only. You are not supposed to declare this in private as well as protected. Compulsory, it should be declared in public section. First thing, class name and function name must and should be same. There is no any written type specifier, not even void also. And here, it should be declared in public section only. Then a constructor is invoked automatically. Usually it will be invoked. Invoked means called automatically when objects are created. Automatically this will called when we want to create object of a class. Consider in the main program we are creating object. When I am going to create the object, automatically this function, whatever thing here we are written, that initialization automatically it will execute. No need to call that separately here. Whenever we are going to create the object, automatically this function will execute automatically. It is not possible to refer the address of the constructor. Exactly in the memory on which place that constructor is present, that is not possible to identify. First thing, class name and function name are same. It should be declared in public section. It does not have any written type specifier, and this automatically execute. Invoked means execute automatically when we are going to create object of a class. Then the constructor make implicit call by itself. By itself, it is going to use new and delete operator whenever memory requirement is there. That means a constructor makes implicit call by itself, implicit call to the operators new and delete when the memory allocation is required. Whenever it requires memory, on that time, by itself, it is going to use new operator. On that, it will going to allocate the memory. Whenever it does not want, then it will going to use delete operator. These are some rules. While writing constructor, we have to follow. First one, class name and function name should be same. It should be declared in public section. It does not have any written type specifier. And here, it is not possible to refer the address of the constructor. This constructor will automatically execute when we are going to create object of a class. And the compiler automatically it will going to call new and delete operator whenever memory requirement is there. Then if you observe the syntax, first class, then class name. Then here int x comma y, two variables were declared for example. Then in public section here if I have not declared any access specifier, then default it will take it as private. Then in public access specifier, once again class name we are written. That means here if you observe, here class name and function name are same here. This is what constructor by using single line command we are written. It means that compiler will not compile that particular line. In this we initialized for x 0 value, then for y 0 value. Then we are closing this function, whereas here we are closing the class. How to close a class? Here we open the class, after flower bracket you have to put semicolon. From that we can able to close the class. Whereas here if you observe, the main thing, class name as well as function name are same. Here it does not have any written type specifier, not even word also. In public section it has to be declared. Only initialization we can able to perform. I am going to give one more example. For example, class. In this class, the class name I am going to give it as add. Add is the class name. Then here we are opening the class. Then in private section, we are declaring the variable. In private section, we are declaring int x for example. Only one variable we are declared. Then in public section, we are declaring the functions by the same name of class. Here the class name we are given as add. Add only here we have to write, then empty bracket. If I am going to write empty bracket here, then it can be default constructor. Default constructor means in this we don't have any arguments. Then here we are initializing the value. For example, for x equals 0 I am initializing. Any value we can able to initialize. Then we will close this function. Later on we are closing this class. It means that in this example, we have only one function. That function name is add and the class name is also add here. And here we can able to perform only initialization. Whereas the constructor definition itself tell you, constructor is a special member function used to initialize the object. Only we can able to perform initialization of an object automatically. Now, we want to explain with one example program. If you observe here, write a program to find sum of the series. That is, here they are given a series 1 plus x square plus up to x to the power of n using constructor. Then, how to write the program here? Whereas if I want to write the program, if you observe the series 1 plus x square up to x to the power of n we have, then here we will write sum equals. That is the result I want to find. On the sum place, I have to give the value and then I have to calculate the result. For example, in the output screen, first I want to enter the value of x and n. Then for example, for x I am going to enter 2. Then for n I am going to enter 2. Then here consider this is the output. Here you are going to enter the value. Get data here. Enter the value x and n. For example, 2 values I want to enter. For example, for x also I am going to give 2. For n also I am going to give 2. Then what will be the series? Here in the output screen, sum equals the result here you have to get. How to get the result? See the series, that is sum equals 1 plus, for x place also we are given 2, plus x square, power also I given 2, then 2 to the power of 2. Then the result 1 plus 2 plus 4, that is totally 7 we are getting here. That means here we are writing one program by using constructor. There we are writing the calculation regarding that sum. Then as usual, first we are declaring the header file as include iostream.h. This is the supporting header file for cin as well as cout function. In the program, if you are using cin as well as cout, then we need this header file. And the next header file, as include conio.h. As include conio.h. This is the supporting header file for clear screen as well as getCH function. In the program, if you are using clear screen and then getCH function, then we require this header file. And the next header file, as include math.h. This math.h header file is required to perform mathematical function. Because here if you observe 1 plus x, if x to the power of 1 here, if you don't have any power, then we can write it as 1 plus x square plus x to the power of n. Till that we have to process. That means we have to find the power of a given variable. For that we need one more header file, that is math.h. In the program, if you are using power function, for that purpose we need this math.h header file. Then as usual, we will start with the class. Here in this program, we are given the class name is power. Class name we are given as power. Then in private section, we are declaring the variable. For this program, we required to store the result, we need sum. For power purpose, incrementation purpose, we need I. And what is the value of x as well as what is the value of n. For that purpose, one by one, we will declare all the variables one by one. Then afterwards, here in public section, we are creating one constructor function. Here the class name is power and here also the function name is also power. Then here we are initializing sum equals 1 here. Only up to this part, that is sum equals 1. Till that we are performing. We are initializing sum equals 1 here. It means that for sum, it will take the value 1 only. Then we are closing this function. Then afterwards, for input purpose, we are taking getData function. For input purpose, getData function. For calculation purpose, compute function. To display the result, finally void display function. Then later on, here we are open the class, that class here we are closing. It means that if you observe on this part, here totally how many functions are there? If you observe here, totally 4 functions are there. The first function is power function. This is a constructor function. It's a special member function used to initialize the object of a class. Then here the class name and function name are same. From that I can say that it is a constructor function. Then with that it does not have any return type. From that also I can say it is a constructor function. Inside the bracket I don't have any argument. From that I can say it is a default constructor. One function is power function, getData function, compute function and then display function. Totally 4 functions are there here. Then we are closing the class. Then one by one we'll write for getData function. One by one we'll write the statement. If I want to write the statement regarding getData, first I have to start with the return type. That is the return type. Here we have void. For which class this function belongs to, especially here, it belongs to power function, especially power class. That's why class name void power. Then next you have scope resolution operator. Then get data function. This scope resolution operator will tell you that particular function belongs to which class. Whereas here get data function belongs to power function. Whereas the main use of scope resolution operator is to define the member function outside the class. In the outside the class also, we can able to help the statement. We can able to write the statement with the help of this scope resolution operator. Then one by one inside that function we'll write the statement. First see out, enter the value of x and n. That means what will be the x value, what will be the n value we have to enter. That thing, enter the value of x and n, that we write inside the double quotes. It means that it will display the value statement as it is. In the output screen, what you are going to get? Enter the value of x and n, it will display. Then afterwards, see in extraction operator x, extraction operator n. It means that we are inputting two values. Here x value is 2 and n value is also 2. How much you want, you can give here. Then we are closing this function. Only to close the class, after flower bracket, we have to write semicolon. But for other functions, we are not supposed to put any semicolon. Only thing we have to write one flower bracket. It means that get data function we are completed. Input part is completed. Next we will move on compute function. If I want to write the calculation, then we need compute function. Then first you have to start with the return type. The return type here we have void. Then next once again you have to write the class name. Class name is power scope resolution operator compute function. Now we are writing the statement especially for calculation purpose. Whereas in get data function, for input purpose we are written that function. Whereas compute function is for calculation purpose we are writing. Then here for I equals 1. Here if you observe, for I have not written 0. I have written I equals 1 because already we initialized sum equals 1 by using constructor function. Then here if you observe x to the power of 1, it means that the power starts from 1 till the number which we are given. That's why for I equals 1 you have to write. For I equals 1. I is less than or equals to n till that it has to process. If you just write less than n, on that case, first it will take 1, then 2. Then here power it will not take, here only it will stop processing. That's why here the power I have to write I is less than or equals to n. If I am going to write only less than n, then up to here only it will take. Less than n. But here I have to mention that till I is less than or equals to, it means that till power is 2, this power is 2, till that it has to process, then I plus plus. Here sum equals, previous already we are given sum value is 1, we initialize it here. Then sum equals 1 here it will take plus power of. Whereas to write power function, POW only you have to write. POW x comma I. It means that x represents the base value and I represents the power value. Then it will take whatever value here we are given x, 2 to the power 1. First time it will take 1, then next time it will take 2, 3. Till I is less than or equals to n, till that this process will continue. This two statement will execute again and again. That is calculation function. That is compute function. Later on we are closing that function. But next if you observe the next one, the display function. Whereas to write display function, here if you observe display function, the return type here we are given as void. Then start with void and then class name we are given as power. Then scope resolution operator, display function. We are just displaying the result. Whereas here if you observe, for x also I given 2, then as well as for n also I given 2, then the calculation 1 plus 2 to the power of 1 plus 2 to the power of 2. If I am going to give the power n is 3, then one more series it will take. That is 2 to the power of 3 also it will take. It means that for n whichever value I given, till that the process will take place. Then void power is the function name as well as class name, then display function. Now I just display the result like the sum is equal to the sum of the series equals. Then sum of the series equals that we are written inside the double quotes. It means that it will display inside the double quotes whatever thing, especially in Cout, whatever thing you will write, that will display as it is. If you make spelling mistake, then also it will display as it is without making any change. But without double quotes, if you write some variable, insertion operator sum, then whatever value in the sum, that it will display. There is a difference between insertion operator, double quotes A. Then once again insertion operator, just A. Then here if you observe, here in the first case with the double quotes, whatever thing we are written, if it is spelling mistake, whatever thing, it will display as it is. But here, if you observe here, without quotes if you write, then whatever value inside that, that will display. Whereas here, the result is present at sum. Then we will close this function. Now is it clear? Next, in the main program, we will write in the main program, first clear screen. Before that, we have to create the object. How to create object here? First, you have to take the class name. Here, power. Then, object name, whatever you want, you can write. Okay. Then, next clear screen. Then, object. The object we are given as p.getData function. It means that this getData, whatever thing in the getData function, here it will go to execute. Whereas when I'm going to create the object here, automatically this constructor function will execute. When I'm going to write the object, automatically the constructor function will execute. Then object.getData, then immediately this getData part will execute. Then next if you observe here, object that is p.compute, then what happens? Compute section automatically it will execute. Now is it clear? Next, if you have p.display, then what happens? This display function automatically it will execute. Like this, we can able to write one program by using constructor as well as destructor, everything we can able to use here. It means that from this chapter, especially from this session, you came to know that what do you mean by constructor? It is a special member function, use it to initialize. Then how to initialize that value. Then in the next class, you will come to know regarding which are the different types of constructor, like default constructor, parameterized constructor, as well as copy constructor, how to write the program on that, how to initialize, how to declare, and what do you mean by default constructor? Then what is the syntax for that? How to write the example as well as program. In the same way for parameterized constructor also, how to write the syntax, then what are the advantages, disadvantages, how to write the program for parameterized constructor. In the same way for default constructor also, the syntax, then how to write the program, advantage, disadvantages. Regarding that, you will come to know in the next session. Thank you for all of you.